Good morning. It is May 31st, and this is the May video recap video for Allodium for OG Foundation. For myself, OG Foundation is the property in the what has been created as property as my physical Allodium and staked to the sovereign cooperative of Allodium, creating the encompassing the terrain and the physical jurisdiction of the cooperative beyond the physical vessels of the individuals who have affirmed their membership and their sovereign rights, affirmed the truth, rights, and responsibility in the affirmation. Whoa, this has got off to a weird and slow start. Thank you for that reflection. We're just trying to summarize things, give a whole overview, whatever comes up, often tangentially speaking, and whatever seems pertinent to convey is what we're going to try to convey. The last month, the video was talking about kind of seasonal kind of projections of looking forward relative to being rooted in a seasonal understanding. And in that sense, it's pretty much true regardless of relative to nature. Those are the cycles of nature, and then we can transcribe those influences in relation to humans. We separate ourselves from nature, but we're still influenced by it one way or another. So in the last month, it has been spring energy. We've been in the middle of spring, past the peak of spring. Everything's sprouting, new life. Been having a couple fires, burning out the old dead growth, and starting new projects. I forget exactly where we're at the point of the last video, but the first project was a rock wall up in the courtyard to finish an area up there, and that was pretty short. Then there was started a project for a woodshed tunnel entrance crossroads room, and that one I've gotten 2 arches on. I don't know how it's gonna work, and I haven't integrated the cat song fully into the design of it. But the kitty is mostly pleased with the unfinished nature of how it will look, because that leaves it up to who knows what to design how it looks, I suppose. Lose content to lick his crotch. So everything's at peace, and we're in this period. I was thinking that there would be potentially a pinch point in the last week or so. We've had these record heats, and then there's a whole racial thing going on seemingly externally, where people got upset or are upset about that and doing rioting and stuff. I think that's like the shadow of what could have happened. And so it's showing the delayed effect as things are getting drawn out. Agenda is not able to be fulfilled because of competing agendas, and then they sort of mashed together in waves, and then what comes out is compromise in a way with these different agendas. It's been suiting Allodium though, as far as how we're positioned and being preparing ahead of time for such changes. So I would say the last month it wasn't. It was kind of all went to plan in a way. There's the unexpected nature of not knowing how the next project is going to look, but there's a general understanding of how it will deterministically play out to find its proper shape. So, in a way, you could say from a certain perspective, you could visualize what it would look like, and yet the builder of the thing doesn't know what it will look like. So we're basically continuing along the ideology, the seasonal ideology, and time frame analysis that works into a narrative. Where we're at now, we basically get one more month of the spring time energy, and so we'll be wrapping up that in the next month. Everything will all the plants for the most part here will all be started. The big projects will all be kind of like understood as far as what's going to happen this year. And I can outline some of that. There's the current project. There's a good amount of masonry, stone building, stone stacking, earth retaining rock wall projects that I intend to continue working on. It's a great way to invest my skills to turn sloping hills, which are fallow in a way and just full of weeds, to terrace them with rock walls on the faces and utilize them for production. And then moored up the rock walls so that the rocks don't fall over time. It's a great way to invest my time. There's progress continually. We've got this seasonal kind of flow of produce coming from the foundation, which is fueling Allodium and the abundance of the cooperative. It's all going well. In time, we may have more ability to expand the infrastructure and everything, but currently we're probably going to have a slight reduction from production from last year because it's just me here this year. There might be some short-term help, but for the most part this year it's just me, kind of the two steps forward, one step back kind of thing. So it's like last season was like two steps forward. Several people and finding these ways of working together, but then underlying kind of dynamics, relational dynamics, cause that to not be sustainable. And this year is like a step backward to realign with the foundational intent and to address some of those relational issues so that we can grow sustainably going forward. So that's going to be this whole year doing infrastructure, taking that step back, and growing a bit less, but doing it sustainably and efficiently, and raising the standards of quality. So we're gonna keep on track for the next month. Keep on working on the tunnel crossroad project, which at Fair Cement thing. Um, oh, we've acquired a vehicle I have acquired a vehicle in the last month, but it will be very helpful for um, the the work and getting materials and all sorts of stuff. I might end up staking it to the cooperative. I haven't quite determined that yet. Um, Probably not. No, I'll probably keep that for myself. But it could be part of. Anyways, we'll see. I could change my mind. If there's multiple vehicles, the chances of that increases, and the more utilitarian they are, the more likely they are to be staked to the cooperative or OG Foundation. A trackhoe would be sweet. Bobcat, little trackhoe thing to move dirt in more efficient ways. That would be good. But it's not right around the corner, anyways. So it might be some people visiting this season, but otherwise it's just gonna be me. We're 2/3 of the way through the season. So the next video will be at the transition from the spring to the whole. The summer 3-month period, I see that is going to be like, it's going to be an inflection point. It'll seem like topping a curve in a way, where you or like the peak to the start of the more steep decline, I think. So the first 2 months will seem kind of like working through all these energies, like inventory in the economy, basically. So we've had these shocks of demand, of increased demand, decreased demand, these shocks of different monetary stimulus, of just pumping it in or letting it go out. And so these things interrelate, and the destabilization um, in them, the volatility within those two dynamics of money versus supply and demand versus the actual things, the products. Um, this is the concerning trend that can cause things to break, and what I'm anticipating is that as by the transition from the summer to winter season, that's going to break. So in that summer season, likely 2/3 into it, so that would be exactly 3 months from today, is when we're probably going to see the peak of that inflection, which would look like vast shortages, like all sorts of food selling out in the grocery store, um, not just like the canned food or something, or all sorts of paper products selling out, not just the toilet paper, but all the paper towels and the napkins and everything. And people just, we'll see. It could be addressed, but it becomes more and more complex as the volatility increases. Maintaining the balance becomes more complex. So this is like a heartbeat of a transition. So as you get trending towards increased volatility, at some point the volatility spikes, and the thing that's complicated can no longer maintain its state of being. It can seem like a death, but a death can also be a rebirth of another form of consciousness. Can exist on many scales, but that's what I'm looking at. So I think in 3 months today to 4 months today, we're going to be in that downward cycle, and then by the winter season, um, Oh, I'm forgetting about fall. I was going from summer to winter. Right. Right. So I think you're going to really start to see that inflection by the end of summer. And then by the fall period, then there'll start to be like the competition. It's not going to just be like, let me get mine. It'll be like mine in relation to other people. Like they're good over there, but we're in trouble over here. And these guys I know are in trouble. And if we find other people in trouble and we get together and we scapegoat the people who are okay, then we can, with the mob mentality, go and try to take from the people who are prepared and okay. So that's also a potential security risk. Talking about this fall, so preparing for that. And then by the winter time, a lot of people are kind of like, especially in places like this, it's climate related, but in places like this, people are mostly hunkered down by the winter time. And then by the following spring, we'll have a whole new cycle. So I had going through this, maybe a seasonal thing every. I mean, I only do these video things once a month, so who knows? Only a few people listen, anyways. But hopefully, there's some value in my perspective for other people. Um, Anything else I wanted to cover? We got the seasonal projections, the plans going forward. There's not a whole lot to report right now. All the seeds have for this year's CBD crop have all been started to germinate in like an indoor tent, and probably within a week or two, by mid June they'll all be outside. But within a week, most of them will be transplanted outside. You got to The field from last year has been kind of like it's all in disarray, the cows and all sorts of stuff. So there's a lot of work to do. And I think that's kind of where we're at now. Everything is proceeding apace, um, and it's all pretty much good news. Good news, ominous warnings, and doing the work to prepare for these things, which are um, not expected, but probably likely. Um, and keeping that in mind, just trying to appreciate, cultivating appreciation, not trying. I have an issue with the word trying. Cultivating appreciation through time um, of life and all the other relativities in life, all the creatures and beings and friends, and finding those balances in each relation where each individual is valued and respected. And it's different for each individual, and so there's lots of learning lessons in such kind of relations. That's all for now, and I will check in again at the end of June. Take care, everybody.